it now. So, hi everybody, good day from Australia. This is Bonell and Michelle Allen. We're doing a webinar for you tonight. Just a little bit about us. I'm going to flick through that really quickly. Now again, our compliance disclaimer, everything you hear tonight is not intended to be financial advice. We expect you to get advice from your professional financial people and do your own due diligence and seek confirmation from a licensed accountant or financial advisor. And we are not registered brokers or advisors. So please, this is the purpose of our webinars is just to give you some information for you guys to use that as a base and to go and do your own learning and, you know, work it out for you. So tonight, my presentation is going to be what do we do with our tokens. So I thought we'd go through each token and actually break them down for you and what actually each token does, and what do we do, what do they mean, and this is just an official thing I found, so that's just a little bit about it. I'm going to go straight into unlocked crew, and this is like there's so many questions I'm seeing on Telegram groups and social media groups, and what do we do with it? And so unlocked crew, you can hold or wait for the trading price to increase. So some people might have a strategy with, okay, well, I don't need to sell right now. I'm going to hold it for a couple of years or 6 months or 2 days or whatever, and then they may trade on the exchange. You can convert these to WCRU, so you can do unlocked and locked crews. And when you do convert them, remember they will be frozen for 365 days. That's a really important one because just because you have unlocked crew, it does not mean when you convert it to WCRU that it will be unlocked WCRU. And I know a lot of people know that, but there are a lot of people who don't know that as well. So you can stake to get crew, and this will be locked in. Now, what's happened now is that we've got our different percentages on the, in our back office, and say we have the 1% staking, or we can actually cancel that before it's finished, and we'll be penalised or whatever a percentage was lost. So, but when you stake your crew on the exchange, you'll agree to a term. So before you do this, you need to really consider what your strategy is. Now, if you don't need to sell your crew, or you're happy to sit there for it to be locked up for 2 or 3 years or 6 months or whatever period, that's what you would do. You would stake it and get more crew, and that the crew you get will be unlocked. But again, it would depend on how much you have and what you do with it. You can also choose to stake to get UNTB, and I'll go into UNTB in the next couple of slides on what that is, because that's actually a very good token to have. You can also transfer your unlocked crew to peer-to-peer. So you might want to gift it to your family, friends, or kids. You might want to, you might have someone else that you might want to sell it in between. But you can actually gift it to peer-to-peer, and what you do with that and how that's completely up to you. So if you read between the lines, that's a strategy you'll have to come up with yourself. Or you can transfer to the exchange to sell. So if you're feeling that the price is going up and you think, yep, I can offload 100 or 200 or 10,000 crews, that's what you do. You could sell them and, turn that into sort of some money for you. Now, your lock crew. A couple of things you can do. You can hold it and wait for it to unlock, which will be quite a long time. Or you can convert to WCRU, frozen. But remember, when you convert it, it will start from the day you convert it, and it will be frozen for 365 days. So the clock starts from the day you convert it to WCRU. So the unlocking UNTB. So that's another one. So people are going, what is UNTB? So you can transfer to the exchange to sell. You can transfer from peer to peer. you can stake to get increased server power used to transact or sell other tokens. So that's an important one, because when you're trading, if you're someone that's going to be trading a lot, you're going to need server power. So by staking these UNTBs, you will actually get this. The staking converts to like a credit towards your server power, and Richard will probably touch on this a lot more later on. So so the main usage for UNTB is the token it's the core token of the blockchain, and this is taken from the tokenomics paper. The token has an initial price of 0.01 USD, and each user is required to have a minimum amount of 10 UNTBs at his crypto wallet. I just cut and pasted that from the tokenomics paper. So you're going to have at least 10 UNTBs in your account when you start. So if you don't have them, you're probably going to buy them. Day one will probably cost you 10 cents, or you can stake and get these UNTBs for free. So USDU, it gets confusing, all the different tokens, but I'm hoping this little presentation will help you all, because you can, when we upload it, you can go back and just, look through slide by slide, and hopefully that will help you learn. But after I finish my presentation, I'll post a link for the tokenomics paper, and I recommend that all of you download this paper and print it out and learn it, because you have to do this if you're going to go into that next level of going onto the exchange. So the USDU, you can transfer to the exchange, and you can transfer to peer-to-peer. So what is it? It's one USDU is equivalent to $1 US. So this token is used for payments of bonuses in different loyalty programs and for dividends. So when we get our dividends, we'll get them in the USDU, and it's basically then what you do with that will be up to you. You may want to pull it out, transfer it out via Bitcoin, or if when we have our cards available, our MasterCard or Visa card, you might want to use it that way. But a USDU has a value of $1 US, which is kind of pretty cool. So you're unlocked and you're locked WCRU. The unlocked WCRU will be listed on the exchange to trade. The locked WCRU can be staked to receive more UNTB, and this is really important, because you want to get as much UNTB as you can. So there are no set times and has a 72-hour cooling off period. So what does that mean? That means that when you go to state your WCRU, for your UNTB, the company will hold it for 72 hours. So they won't just go, okay, bang, we're going to unroost this so you could sell. You'll have to wait 72 hours before you can trade that, and that gives you a cooling off time. It gives and it makes you think about what you're going to do, and the price may drop at that point. You might go, actually, I'm not going to do that. So your WCRU is really really going to be an amazing token when it's unlocked and it's unfrozen, and we can have time. But don't think you can just if you can unlock it and then bang, put it up there to sell. You're going to have to wait 72 hours. The UNTB generated can be traded on the exchange or staked. So all the UNTBs you get from staking your WCRU, whether it's locked or unlocked, you will be able to use those and sell them, or stake them, or do whatever you like with them. So the main usage for the WCRU is a stock equivalent, index token reflecting share, ownership of the company, and the right to receive bonuses. So for every WCRU you have, that will allow you to get, entitle you to get a bonus or a dividend. So this little part here, I cropped it from the tokenomics paper, because I know people are going to say to me, what are the percentages for the day? So like for them to be unlocked. But that little part is really important to get your head around, because it's going to take quite a while for our WCRU to defrost, and that's something that everyone needs to consider and work out their strategies and what they're going to do with it. And this one is taken again from the tokenomics paper. So it's in 3 states. So this is your WCRU, and you'll see the where it goes to. It's frozen after the purchase, but it still entitles you to dividends. So you can get UNTB, which still gets you dividends, or if your WCRU is unfrozen, you still get dividends. It all goes to there. So this is quite an important diagram to learn and understand how it works. So, and this again is in the tokenomics paper, which I'll put a link to in the chat line after when Richard's talking. And my big advice to you all is to create a plan. So, for example, in my office where I'm going to be on my computer trading and doing all crazy things, I'm going to have a big whiteboard, and I'm going to have everything listed, and I'm going to be going, what happens? And if you're an experienced trader, you probably don't need to do it. You can keep it all in your head and just go bang, you know what you're doing. But if you're like me, I'm visual, so I need to have it all laid out and go, what's going on? Okay, if I do this, this is going to happen, and create little flow charts to see what the outcome is. So create a plan, however that works for you. My thing's going to be the whiteboard. I love the whiteboard because I can rub it out and fix up when I make a mistake or something's not going to work. But I can also plan what's going to happen. Start networking with the people that you see on social media and media groups and ask them what they're doing. Don't be afraid to send a leader a PM and say, what are you doing? But make sure it's privately. Don't embarrass them public and go, hey, what are you doing? You know, spill out your strategy. Of course, they're not going to react to that. And take the time to learn the tokenomics paper. That's probably the best advice we can give you, because once you understand that paper, you will understand the flow of how it all works. And that's something that's, really, really important for all of us to do. So I'm going to hand it over. I hope that helped you all. I'm going to hand it over to Richard. He will have lots and lots of stuff to do. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And Richard's going to share his screen.
Not at the moment, I'm not.
You're not? Okay.
We'll just chat. No, just that, because a lot of what I want to talk about tonight is probably not a visual thing. There's a couple of things on that slide, Michelle. I think you'll find that there's a couple of things changed from that. Okay. You said in there that unlock crew can be staked for World Crew or UNTB or something. There was UNTB. Something that I think they've changed that. I don't think there was something that what was it, Audrey? What would you say, Audrey? Say that again.
Say that again.
Audrey?
I'm here. Last night Ellen Koster did her Zoom, and she said that she had just heard from Maria Antonienko herself that Unlock Crew would not be available for staking for UNTB.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd heard that Unlock Crew. Yeah, I'd heard that Unlock Crew would only be available for staking for Crew. I just wanted to just clarify.
Because when we were doing testing on the exchange, I was able to do it. So which is really interesting. So yeah, okay. I'm sorry, everybody. Disregard what I've said. It's been changed again. So yeah, it's hard. It is hard to keep up. Hey, everybody, wow.
No, it's not, and it's not a matter of anybody pointing out an error of somebody else. What we're just trying to do is just try and give everybody a pretty clear picture, because we're going to be asked very soon, the company's got this. Let's have a look at, we found out that we've got a delay in recommencing the registration on the exchange because they're affecting the UG pay system.
Right.
They tell us that that's going to take a few days to do. And the entire IT department is involved in doing that. So there are no available personnel for us to be doing registration with or be able to do anything. So the registration's been put down the order. Now, I guess that's a nice thing, because we all, as soon as we go on the exchange, the next thing people will be saying is, well, how do I move money? How do I get paid? How do I, put money in? Well, hopefully that system will be in place when we arrive there. So that'll be good. That's a good thing. Maria did say some time ago that there's a number of functions that the company are doing that can be done simultaneously. Now, that's, I guess, the theory of it, but with the little problem they had with the company releasing that link on Facebook, that sort of pretty much sort of put that to rest. So we do have a situation now where they've got to go through and clear the exchange, because, and this is, again, this is not just the company, the company doing it. This is the Estonian Security Authority saying you've compromised your registrations by having the test thing done and real people, and it's where now. Once we get into this world of security tokens, it actually gets taken out of our hands how we do. We can't do this where if you registered legitimately, you're in. If you registered, incorrectly, you're out. You got to redo it. If the Estonian authorities say no, we don't do it that way, the whole thing gets scrubbed. We don't have a choice in that. We just say, yes, fine, we're going to do it. Now, I don't know if we have been told that, but I know for a fact they would not allow us to have uncertifiably registered people on the exchange. It defeats the whole purpose of KYCs and anti-money laundering rules if you've done all of that to an exchange that doesn't exist. So it's sort of something that was unfortunate that it came up, but we have to now abide by those rules. And what we're going to do another webinar next week. And so tonight's, Michelle, I'll just sort of let you know that.
Okay, no problem. We've got this.
But what we want to try and do tonight is just to start the serious thinking process. We all should have probably been thinking about it for a while, but we get a lot of questions in groups about things, about the difference between UG Pay and an exchange, and interactions with, what exactly can we do on our exchange? How do we buy and sell crew? How do we buy and sell world crew through UG Pay? And just a few questions that have come up. So I thought tonight we'd just have a talk and just sort of set the scene and set some things in process for people to think about when you plan your strategy. And probably the most important thing I think people need to really focus in, really deeply understand, is, do you think you have enough crew? Are you, now I know for a fact with my situation, I'm what they call, and we've talked about it before, I'm asset rich, cash poor. So I have got a good, solid number of crew. So in my assessment of my situation, and this is just Richard Bonell talking about Richard Bonell's situation, I don't need to be looking at increasing my numbers of crew. I just don't. There is, I know that we have this continual discussion of crew, got to get crew, hang on. For me, I'm at the point with the other things that I'm doing in my life, I actually have enough crew. I don't need any more. But what I don't have is I don't have a disposable income account. And so that's what I'm going to be. That's the biggest thing that this whole changing around of things can do for me, is it can give me that capacity. Now, I can achieve that capacity, I believe, by pretty much staking everything that I have got, converting it to World Crew and staking it for UNTB. I've done my sums and my mathematics on what I believe my UNTB rewards will be, and it's hundreds of thousands of UNTB a month, so I don't think I'm going to have a problem. Now, I'm going to probably keep 20,000 crew floating around, and if the price does get to what Maria said it would get to at the end around Christmas, up to $1, well, yeah, I'd probably be tempted to sell them for $1. Have $20,000. You know, what's $20,000 in Aussie money is about 27,000 Australian dollars, something like that. That would be nice to have in my account, in my bank account, just sitting there. I don't have a particular purpose for it, but it would just be nice after all of the period of time that we've gone through, where, you know, for me, I've had to sort of sometimes rob Peter to pay Paul to get things done. It would just be nice to not have that situation anymore. So that will just give me wriggle room. But once you've decided what it is that you need to do, we then need to look at how we achieve that. And you've got to look at, if we look at crew, that not World Crew, we look at crew over the next couple of years, and this is what I think, and I'm this again, this is just purely what I think is going to happen. I think initially, when people start to see about crew and they hear about World Crew, and they find out that they're not able to get their hands on World Crew, the alternative is going to be that they'll look for crew. And if you're a smart person and you've got some to sell, you will be posting in social media that you are the person to come to if people want to buy crew. Want crew, see me. You know, just keep posts, very direct, very simple. Don't tell the story. You don't want to tell the story in your post. You just want to get people's attention. And you can do that. Now, because crew is not the security token, we are able to promote that in every form of social media that we want to. So I would be posting. I would be now getting out and posting information about crew. Get your name out there associated with crew, so when people start and come looking for it, and they do searches, they do that, your name's already there running. The people, your friends in Facebook, Instagram, whatever social media outlet you're using, they're already aware of it. But that's something to think now, because I think in the initial stages, that's going to push the price of crew up. And so this might be part of someone's strategy. The crew price will actually go up, principally because it's what they call a gateway token. Now we're going to have some, Tom, I saw you yawning. I haven't even started yet and you're already yawning. My goodness, you've got no chance. But what's going to happen is, right now, all of the assets that are in the portfolio are owned by a company called Crypto Unit Incorporated, and they're an incorporated company in the British Virgin Islands. Now, another company called World Crew, who is registered in Delaware in the USA, is going to buy out the Crypto Unit Incorporated from the British Virgin Islands, and all of the assets that are currently held in the Crypto Unit program are going to be transferred to World Crew. Now, once that happens, that means crew no longer is an asset-backed anything. So it purely becomes a gateway token to World Crew. That's all it is ever going to become from then on. It'll still earn your loyalty bonus, which we know is going to be dropping from 10 to 5%. But something quite unique happens, and you need to understand it, and we'll elaborate about this more next week, is that World Crew receives a dividend. Technically, legally, it's a dividend. And there is a process, and we'll go through what that process is and how they calculate it and when they pay it. Because Crew is no longer an asset-backed instrument, it will not receive a dividend, it will receive profit bonus. And we've got to go through and look at how that is calculated, because that's going to become very important in your decision making as to whether you hang on to Crew for any length of time or whether you convert it to World Crew to start securing dividends. Because profit bonus is a more an arbitrary type of payment. It's like a goodwill payment. So we need to get, and we'll get this locked down this coming week. So when we talk next week, we'll be able to know. But that should be something that should be on people's lists of things to check. Profit bonus ? Dividend ? So you go through that question list as you're creating your strategies and as you're creating your plan, because
Richard,
you don't. Yeah.
Can I just interrupt there for a second?
Yep.
I don't know exactly how you said it, but you said that when people are I think you said finding it hard to get the World Crew. Is that how you verbalized?
Sorry, say that again.
It sounded like you had mentioned that it was hard for people, if it's going to be hard for people to buy World Crew.
Yes. Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Okay. Well, you've first of all, you've got to be, if you're Johnny come lately off the street, you've got to be an accredited investor.
Yeah.
So still those rules still apply. You also, UGPay can have a threshold limit of, say, your minimum buy-in's $50,000 to buy World Crew through UGPay. So it's not going to be, and they're going to negotiate every deal that is done with UGPay will be a negotiated deal. They don't have, it's not like an exchange where you say, okay, the price is 70 cents. So we want 10 million. So 10 million times 70 cents, whatever that adds up to. That's it. There's a whole raft of holding times. So you can do a contract. If you want to pay less for World Crew, you may have to agree to a 10-year holding term.
Wow.
There's things like this. Now, these are very, very, very standard large-scale investment. When people are buying tens of hundreds of millions of investments, it's a 10-year lockup is not an unusual lockup period. But in the process of doing these things, you can sell things with lockup periods. It's a totally different world to what we work in on the exchange that we're going to work in. We're in what's called a secondary exchange, and UGPay and people who initially buy Crew are operating in what's called a primary exchange. One of the big problems, one of the things that canned the exchange opening last year was there were primary exchanges where we could have sold. Well, we wouldn't have been able to because we couldn't have had it as Crew, but there was a primary exchange. There was no secondary exchange. There was no facility for someone who has bought World Crew to resell it. Well, now there is, but there wasn't them, and you can't resell your Crew on a primary exchange. A primary exchange is a one-only transaction. It's once only. So if people are going to buy World Crew, they're going to first of all have to become co-owners of the company. They're going to then have to join the VIP club, and then they can do it through your back office, through UGPay and things like that. Now, there's a lot of people who will simply, some will go through that process. There'll be other people who, if you have promoted yourself as being a supplier of crew, people can buy their crew, flick a button that says convert, and then it's converted. So it's just something that getting your hands on World Crew will not be as easy as what it will be to get your hands on crew. That being the case, it makes crew a viable opportunity and a viable thing to sell, because it's just so easy to convert it to World Crew.
So do you think there's a market out there for the World Crew to be buying it because of the assets?
Well, that's going to be the only thing. Yeah, absolutely. But that's not going to get much of a profile. The company UGPay or all of us, for example, we can't put World Crew in the public domain. We can't promote it in the public domain. It's under the Regulation D listing that we've got. We can't do it. We can promote crew, but we can't even type the word WCAU in a public domain. If SEC get wind that we're trying to sort of do a run around the back door, they just simply remove the effective status of our application and the whole thing goes down the toilet. So the company are going to be, you can absolutely assure, with data mining and all of this stuff, one of the things that they are going to have in their data mining system is the initials WCRU. And if they find us using it, they are going to come down on us like a whirlwind, because it's really, really serious. That UGPay can promote World Crew in magazines that are read and created for sophisticated investors, and things like that, like accountants and financial planners, and these people, they can promote it too, but they can't promote it in any way, shape or form where someone who would be considered unsophisticated can come across it. The Security Exchange Commission are very, very, very strict on that.
Hey, Richard, Mike Day here. I haven't seen a lot of press about this really pressing issue you're discussing right now. And I've seen a lot of posts on Facebook, albeit probably in private settings, as far as our private groups, but there's a lot of people, posting about WCRU and having images and so on and so forth. So I have hardly seen the company promote this very strict policy so that it doesn't ruin it for everyone. Is that going to come out like through the company? Is that part of the NDA? Is that part of like?
That's I guess because UGPay would be arguing that they're not really ready to rock and roll yet. There's probably, look, they shouldn't do it, strictly speaking. They shouldn't be doing it. Nobody should be promoting World Crew in any way, shape or form in public. Now, in a private chat group like our education Telegram group, we can talk about it because it's ostensibly it's a private club. It's not like you're posting it on my Facebook page or something like that, come and see me to buy World Crew. Something like that, if I posted something like that, that would be an absolute smackdown from the Security Exchange Commission. Now, they're only going to react when they get someone complaining. They're not going to be policing that until they get someone to complain. So if we have people who don't particularly like our company, they're going to be looking for reasons to cause trouble. And even if somebody did do it, the Securities Exchange Commission are going to get in touch with the company and say, what's going on. Now, if they believe that the company's been set up maliciously, then they're going to they're not going to pull the company's effective status. You know, if the company's showing an effort and showing some endeavour, if it happens to be one of us and we've done it, they will have to show that they've sent a memo to the person saying, you know, withdraw your ad and don't do it. But the company will get into all sorts of bother really quickly if they if en masse people are promoting World Crew to sell and it gets to the attention of Security Exchange Commission. Absolutely.
So why haven't they been very vigilant in every webinar and every closed group meeting about making sure we like that it's very crystal clear in a slide that you cannot promote this and this is the ramifications and this is what will happen. Like they've done that with the NDA around chat groups and, you know, webinars and things where people aren't in the VIP or the closed group or signed the NDA, but we're not hearing anything about this sort of ramification because, you know, we've got 750,000 partners who with CRU, you know, I think it's very valuable.
Yeah, the company actually have listed it. They actually have said it, that whether but they don't say it in webinar after webinar after webinar for sure. And that's they can also, the company does have, and I don't have a big issue with their problem, is that they like to release things relevant or closer to the date that they're doing it. And if they're not releasing World Crew for sale, they're probably got other things on their mind, but it will come up and they will certainly post a thing saying this. They have posted it already, saying that it cannot be promoted in social media, but and it will come and they will post it again. But at the moment, I'm guessing with the fact that UGPay actually isn't selling at the moment, you know, like they posted this this thing about UGPay in some crypto magazines and things like that. Now, whether they can argue that those magazines were magazines that a sophisticated person could read, you'll bet your life on the fact that the security, the legal department will have vetted all of that. I know that they'll be looking at that, but we will get directed in due course. You can absolutely guarantee that we are not to promote World Crew openly and socially. We can promote it privately. If somebody responded to your crew promotion and they said, oh, you know, what's it a gateway to? Well, you can talk to them privately about that, but you wouldn't be able to conduct that conversation on an open page on Facebook or something like that. But it will come. And look, until they do, what's that expression about making hay while the sun shines? That if you can get it out there and until they, you know, clip your wings, go for it. But the SEC won't pull the effective status of crew until the company has been notified. You know, they'll give them 28 days to get their act sorted out. So it's one of those things that if you're doing it, fine, enjoy it, you're getting away with it, but understand that you will get reined in once the company, you know, their focus at the moment seems to be on GoPro and a few other things. And so, you know, maybe things are just sort of not as focused. I know that they're desperately going in the back office on this payment system with this UGPay payment system. So there's probably a little bit of latitude being given to people, not necessarily through lack of policing. It's just that the guys are so busy doing other things, they just don't have the time to chase that up. And if no one's getting on their back about it, then, you know, they're not going to rock the boat either.
And is it correct that the Regulation D with regards to accredited and sophisticated investors is only applicable to US citizens, or is it a global initiative?
No, it's actually, it's Regulation D is a global thing. They had to apply under Regulation S to get it to be relative to just American citizens, but they didn't. They only made the one application under Regulation D. So everybody wears that. That was a decision that I don't understand, because you can make simultaneous applications, but they chose not to. And someone asked a question. What was that question about mixed messages?
So is that a mixed message? Surely we should be discouraging all inappropriate behaviour. It's from Devery.
Yeah, look, it is, but it's not our decision. Like it's the company decision to make, and if they're happy to let it ride, then I would suggest to people that maximise if you maximise your presence in this arena. If they're letting you do it, certainly they will rein you in when the time comes. But it's one of those things that if they're not getting flack from anybody about it, they're just going to let it ride. But you can read very clearly in the regulations that it is absolutely, William, you're yawning, I saw that at the corner of my eye. That's two people yawning. Am I that boring? No, but it absolutely is a serious regulation that the SEC do monitor pretty religiously.
Excuse me, it's like 3:30 in the morning here. I just woke up and saw the message you were having a meeting, and I jumped on. So I'm in bed, brother. I'm working in bed.
I'm only having a lend of you. I'm only having a lend of you. Don't take any notice of me. So does that answer your question, Mike? Or who was that said about?
Fantastic. Is there, when you use your referral link through the UGPay back office, and you want to bring someone in that way rather than sending them to the public exchange, do they need to be qualified as a sophisticated or accredited investor to?
No, so long as they're a co-owner first, under the Regulation D ruling, a co-owner is an exempt person. So we get to buy World Crew, being, Richard, Bonell, Johnny come lately, because I'm a co-owner of the company.
Right, but if they were brought in after we went public and there was no EIPs for CRU left, then they would not be considered a co-owner prior to that, and you would need to bring them in through the UGPay tab. Yep. Yeah, now I don't know how they're going to do that, but that being the case, that's the way it's done, you can absolutely be assured that they've checked that out legally, because it's a really dangerous thing that they get if they get caught doing something wrong. Look, there I go, disappearing. I'm doing a little I flicked the wrong button on my seat. Yeah, but look, just because we're doing it actually doesn't mean we're allowed to do it, but we're getting away with it. So go wild. But just be aware that if you're doing something, they could rein you in very, very quickly, because it's not right. Did you say you wouldn't be able to stake our blocked World Crew? No. You couldn't block Crew. World Crew you can stake for UNTB. But Crew you can only stake. Unlocked Crew can only be staked for Crew, and that's sort of gets back to what we were talking about. You can only stake Crew for Crew while ever the 3 billion Crew are available to be rewarded. So be aware that once things start to move, that option of staking unlocked Crew for Crew could disappear within weeks.
because with the Eventi, the 8% Eventi thing, and people rolling over and staking for the 24 months, and that's the reason why you can't cancel a staking on blockchain, because as soon as you stake, the crew that is going to be paid to you as a reward will be transferred to the staking suspense account, the crew staking suspense account. So it's held for you. And so that's going to whittle down very, very quickly. And you're going to find that that staking crew for crew will be an option that'll go very quickly. So if you are someone who looks at your crew issue and you want to increase your crew, you may want to take out an installment plan now, a large one, and get some crew. And then once the exchange opens, sell some of your crew that you're holding sufficient to pay your installment plans. And then as crew slowly goes up in price, you'll sell less and less of your crew to pay your installment plans. But then at the end of the 10 months, you will have you'll have a larger number of crew than what you will have sold to pay for your installments. So that's just a strategy to think about if you think you need to have more crew. If you think you need to have more crew, you want to stake your crew for crew very, very early on in the crypto wallets in that program. Once they open, get those done, because they're going to go very, very quickly. Another question. Yep.
Yeah, Richard, sorry, Mike again. The 8% staking, I posted a question in the Telegram chat just about 4 p.m. today. Was it for people who started staking in when they first came out with the promotion in September and have been in it now for just about 3 months? We're not getting any interest paid just yet, and that wasn't going to come till the 31st of March anyway. But when the company terminates those, is it clear whether we'll get some interest for the last 2.5, 3 months deposited or not? It's just gone.
Yeah. Now, look, there has been absolute death silence on this subject, and so looking at according to Alan Costa, she was told Maria that staking. Okay, all right. What I think will happen is that if you took out your Eventi staking program, that when the company cancels it, if you renew it as is and just roll it over, it will continue as is. Now, if you cancel it, if when they cancel it, you don't take up the option to roll it over and continue it, then that's a decision that you're making. And you've got to make that decision bearing in mind that you've probably kissed everything goodbye. If you've got that Eventi staking going, and say you've got, just talk about real figures, you've got 100,000 crew and you staked it in that program. If you roll it over, if the company cancel it, you transfer it to your crypto wallet and it is picked up immediately straight again, I believe that the company will still pay you out in March, and everything will just be sweet. If they cancel it and you opt to change your mind and move your staking in another direction, you're making that decision. So you can't hold the company responsible. You can't hold the company liable. You can't hold the company in any way, shape, or form in any, to be compensating you for a decision that you have made. you need to bear in mind that you probably will kiss goodbye to that. Now, what will happen, as the way that this company usually operates, is there will be a massive outcry about that people will generally, they'll let everybody know that, what their thoughts are of that. And the company will then generally look at something and they may come back, and the critical word is may, that they're generally, the company, I think, has been pretty good over the years where if there's been some kind of error or some kind of misunderstanding and genuinely people have missed out, they've been pretty good at coming to the party in some form down the track. And I'm not preempting anything, I'm not saying anything, just on the track record that they have shown to date, they generally don't really say, well, sort of stiff shit, it's bad luck. They've generally come to the party, but they generally do that as an afterthought. They don't they haven't, I've never been aware that they've come and laid out to people, if you opt not to continue with your staking, this is what's going to happen. And they generally don't give you that option until after you've decided, because you've got to understand from Andre's point of view what the purpose of that 8% thing was. That 8% thing was to suck up millions of crew, so the ones that were left were the ones that would be rated for CoinMarketCap circulation crew, because CoinMarketCap works on circulating tokens.
Yeah, so that's what we were talking about earlier in the chat.
Yeah, so if he sucked out millions of crew, it means that those that are left have become more valuable. They're more volatile. There's more people chasing them. The price is going up. Now, if all of a sudden a whole lot of people don't follow through on that and they're not rolling over their 8% to continue it, he's going to have a problem that his circulating number of crew is going to go up, which will effectively bring the price of crew down on CoinMarketCap. So he's got a bit of a dilemma that he has to face there and come up with some alternative. But he does have a situation where one of the things, and I'm sort of jumping from a couple of points, but they're important that we all follow this through, is that the company is very keen on moving to Regulation A in SEC. And one of the things that happens when we go to Regulation A is that you can convert crew to WCAU and it's instantly unlocked. So you don't have a locking period when we're under Regulation A. You can trade it on a security exchange. Any Tom, Dick and Harry can buy them. It's quite different. That's going to have an impact on people who are still holding crew when that period of time comes, because it's 2 years. We've got to list 2 years of financial records with the Security Exchange Commission before we're going to get an effective status of under the rules of Regulation A. But what that means for people who are holding crew is that I think crew price will go up leading up to our introduction to CoinMarketCap. I think then it'll spike up even more as people who are looking at CoinMarketCap start looking to try and buy, where do we get our hands on this wonderful thing? But as we get closer and closer to the time when world crew will start to thaw, the price of crew is going to come down, because people will be asking the question, just say it's 1.5 times the price of crew. Why am I paying 1.5 times the price for something when in 3 months' time I can actually buy the thing at a given lower price? So the price of crew will slowly come down as it becomes less desirable to own than people waiting to buy world crude. So it's something that if your strategy is to do a really big eventing program, or you're going to be locking things in for 2 years, just be aware of these little price nuances that are going to occur as things progress. Now, one of the interesting things that will bring the price of crude back up is as we move closer to that regulation A listing, where they can simply buy it, flick it, and it becomes instantly unlocked. That's going to be because that people will find that an attractive thing. And if they're not, if they're comfortable with working through our exchange, they've been buying and selling UNTB, they've been buying things from our exchange, they'll be happy to just keep going that way. So if you miss the boat on the selling of your crew as it spikes after CoinMarketCap, just be prepared that you might have to sit on it for 18 months or so until we get closer to when we get closer to a regulation A listing. But at that stage, it should come back. The price should come back.
You'd only get profit bonuses as a co-owner, though, right? You, like, if people are buying CRU on the open market and then holding it till that regulation A comes in, that's they're not going to see profit bonuses, are they?
No. Well, just remember, profit bonuses cut out on the October next year.
Yes.
No, loyalty bonus. Sorry, loyalty bonus. Let's get it right. Loyalty bonus is cut out. So the only bonus that is still going to be attributable to crew is this profit bonus, and we'll have that clearly defined by the time we all get together next week, exactly how they calculate dividends and how they're going to calculate the profit bonus relative to that crew, because that's something.
I agree with you that the CRU price will go up, like you said, because circulating supply will be basically zero for WCRU until after 365 days, because even though 45 billion will be available to the public for purchase, or they're going to do a stage release over 10 years, is my understanding anyway. But as soon as the public buys any WCRU, then it goes into a locking phase for 3 years.
WCRU won't even appear on CoinMarketCap for 15 months.
Yeah,
it's not, like it's got to be circulating, and we know that it's not going to circulate anywhere for 12 months, and then it needs to prove that it's tradable by 3 months trading on other exchanges. So we'll be looking at UNTB, we'll be looking at crew on CoinMarketCap over the next couple of 6 months. And because it's the one that's there, and because it's the one that people are looking at, that's what's going to make it valuable. Because that's the one that, if somebody sees, oh, look, there's that crew, and then they see on a Snapchat somewhere or an Instagram or something, I've got crew, and they go, oh shit, that's that thing that I was looking at, that's that crew thing. And that's why it's important to get your presence with the products that are going to be put on CoinMarketCap. There's no real point in putting anything up there about World Crew, because it's just not going to be something that people are going to be looking at and associating with.
Is it true that the estimation of CRU will fall out of circulation within 3 years?
That's the design. That's a design function.
When you stake for 8% on Eventi, and you're coming out 3 years later, are you going? What are your thoughts, Richard? Are you going to be in some sort of bad position where you're going to be holding this token that is not really?
No, because if you look at the timing and this is I think this is an absolute stroke of genius by Andre Harato. I'll absolutely believe he's done this deliberately. is that the big eventi payouts for most people are going to occur right as Regulation A becomes effective. So there's going to be a massive booming need. People will be chasing those crew tokens because it's just buy them, click a button, and you've got a security token. I think if you look at the timing of the eventi payout is almost identical to what's needed by Security Exchange Commission to give us an effective status in Regulation A.
That's a really critical piece of information, Richard, that I guess I didn't know until today. So thank you. I mean, like to come out of that staking with an extra, you know, say you only stake 5,000 and you come out with an extra 10,000, you know.
Oh yeah, look, I mean, I don't believe that it was just, oh, you know, we just throw numbers at dartboards and they come up. I firmly believe, look, the company, I think, does have some problems in their communication and their talking, but I do believe we are guided by a man who is, I find, very, very clever when it comes to money and his timing and the way he puts things together. I really, honestly, I'm not pissing in his pocket. He doesn't even understand English, so he doesn't even know I'm saying it. But I think he is a very, very clever person when it comes to these timings. And to me, it is no coincidence that when people are going to be getting a really big payout from crew, that happens to be almost at the exact same time that we'll be moving to Regulation A. That's a very significant. So if you're a person who is a little bit erratic with your spending, you know, that you see something, oh, I've got the money, I'll go sell this, do that, and I'll go buy it. It might be a really good thing for people who have that mentality to do an eventi staking, to protect themselves, to have some money in 3 years' time when this thing sort of starts to roll out and get seriously big. You know, if you've got the discipline that you won't do that, that you'll spend carefully and you'll do whatever you got to do. But if you know, and this is where we've all got to be honest with ourselves. I mean, the reason why I'm asset rich and cash poor is I'm hopeless at it. I see something, oh, I like that, I want it. I got crap in my garage that's still in the package that when I saw it, I go, oh, I've been looking for this for years. And years later, it's still in its package. But I know that that's a trait that I have, so I accommodate things and I offset things accordingly. But that's because I'm at least honest with myself about that. But there's a lot of people who they say that they're not that. Oh no, I'm this and I'm that and I'm wise and I'm careful. And they're not. And the trick is that we're all feeding them grown-up adults here, and we're getting thrown into the financial adult world in about 2.5 weeks. We're getting handballed. And Maria's already said they're not doing any training on the exchange. They assume that you know what you're doing, and we're getting pushed out of the nest. And we're moving into the financial adult world. And if we do not have adult thoughts, and one of those is, what sort of person am I? That, you know, and an honest assessment of that, people are going to come up short. They're going to lose money, and they're going to go, I don't know where it all went. You know, and they said, I thought you said you were good.
I agree
But
with that.
Richard, I just want to
I'm the
ask.
same.
Yes, mate.
Yeah, I just want to ask, like, say, as per we have been talking about SEC and UGPay, there has to be, like, say, a minimum investment, which would be there, I think, after a year, 2 years, or 3 years also. Then how you compare CRU price will go to a drop?
Yeah. I think over time, the crew price and the CRU price because crew is a click of a button away from being a security token, being world crew.
But the accredited custom investors who cannot, like say, normal guy who cannot invest 100,000 USD for buying WCRU, he has to buy CRU anyhow.
Yeah.
So I don't think so. Okay, the price will go down because the less the CRU would be left out, the prices would be going much higher.
Yeah. No, look, there's two things in what you're saying. That there's two elements to it. That world crew price will be locked pretty much to the returns on the exchange. That's where it's going to get its value from.
Yes.
Crew price will mimic that in one way, where it'll grow past that initially as people want to get their hands on crew.
That can happen later also, Richard. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and where it'll happen again later is when people want to buy crew, and to flick of the button, it becomes world crew with no lockup period. Why people won't be interested in buying it? If you wait 12 months, and just as world crew is starting to thaw out, if you go and buy crew, and you're then going to go into a 365-day lockup period, the only reason you would do that is because the price is low. The prices you've come down. What's the advantage? Why would you buy crew that has to go into a 365-day lockup if in a month's time you can buy world crew and it's unlocked? The only reason why you would do that is because the price is cheap enough for you to want to do that it encourages you to. But what will happen, and why the price will come back to the crew price, is that when you go to Regulation A and there is no lockup, there is an instant, as soon as you buy that crew, it instantly converts to world crew. So if you've got the money, and if you've got the foresight, when the just before, maybe 2 months before world crew starts to thaw and the price of crew starts to drop, monitor that and buy all of them that you can put your hands on, and sit on them for another 12 months.
So I think the company initiated eventy 8%, 4 plus 4. That's again a flop kind of a stuff.
I think the company tried to create, and they've created a very, very unique hedge fund. Normally, I've got money invested in a hedge fund, and normally what happens is you put your money in, you get nothing, zip, not a cracker, until the very end, and then you will get a big payout. That's the whole principle of it. But you get something that I know what I'm going to get. It's guaranteed, it's locked in, it's actually insured, and it's locked in. So I can do other things in the meantime, knowing that I'm going to get a certain payout in 2.5 years' time. Now, what Andre Hirato's created is a very, very unique hedge fund, in that it pays out after the first 6 months, it starts paying a return. But what he's done...
That's fine. But how, as an individual, you gain having 4% till another 30 months after March?
Yeah.
That's again a loss.
No,
because whatever, like say the CRUs that I'm been staking today for the eventy purpose, that'll only give me return after 6 months. That's after March. And if I'm getting those returns, in particular talk about 30 months, and after a year CRU price would be down, so I'm there at a loss. So why
Yeah.
company putting everybody to go for a eventee staking for the time being? That's been
Okay.
lost to all the investors.
Okay. I don't 100% agree with that process, that logic, but we know that the eventee staking was created to create very, very low numbers circulating for the purposes of coin market cap analysis. So that was one of that's not the only thing, but it was a critical part of what they and why they did it. It also creates, Andre wants to create a hedge fund that pays out over time. Now, the beautiful thing that he's done is he's guaranteed it in a token, not in money. Most hedge funds are guaranteed as a return in fiat currency. He's guaranteed his return in a token that is exactly what you said, Shurik, that
No, I
depending on
understand.
the...
Sorry, Richard, why I'm saying it. See, he's already given us some kind of a schedule of the returns, right? And if you talk about the loyalty bonuses, that'll be going over next year in October. So again, no point having CRUs as a or into a staked one. That's one thing. And if Eventee has been created by the company, they should either say, like say after this after this duration, the price will go down. So it's your wish to continue or to leave it.
Okay. Okay. We're going to move on after I've answered that because I'm answering it, but I'll talk to you privately about it. That the price, Andre Gerardo has done a very clever thing, I think, in offering tokens as the reward and not fiat currency. That first of all, it means that there's no cash coming out of the company to fund these rewards. It's a token that's cost him basically nothing. In any case, he's created them so he can give them away fairly freely. If Harun and his investment department people do their work efficiently, the price, I agree that initially the price is not going to be the same as World Crew, but it will come back. It absolutely will when those crew become something that by just clicking a button and they convert to something that is instantly unlockable, that will become a really, really valuable utility token to have. Now, he has to create some income for people in the meantime. He's got to create something. So his option is to do the 4x4 thing. If he held everything until the very end, where does anybody earn any money? Where are they getting it? Because if all of that money is held to the end, it's not getting staked for UNTB. It's, like nobody's earning any money from it. So he provides people with an income potential that you can opt to sell. You can opt to convert it to World Crew and then stake it for UNTB. He's giving us the option, but he's giving us the option without actually giving us money. And that's incredibly clever because it means that the cash flows of the company aren't being affected by this 4% staking for Eventee. It's very, very clever because when we want money, it's coming in from a source away from the company. And that's smart because it means that when he's doing his financial planning and his budgetings and all the things that the boys in the investment department are doing, they're not having to factor in payouts that could be of a random nature. No, he doesn't know when these 4% stakings start to be paid. He doesn't know whether half of the people are going to sell them or half are going to stake for World Crew. He's got no idea. And that lack of knowledge would mess up his budgeting and cash flows. But by paying it out in Crew, it doesn't affect his cash. It doesn't affect his ability to move cash around, because when any of us are making money from it, we're doing it from selling it on an exchange, which has got nothing to do with the company. And I think that's incredibly clever.
Yeah, it's been like, say, the same thing. You are putting a money into FD in a bank, and the bank is giving you per month some kind of interest, and that your $100,000, they are using it to give to somebody else, or
Oh, yeah,
earning some
yeah.
money on that.
Yeah, no, and that's
Guys,
that's
we
fair.
probably
That's
have to
good
move on
business.
to other people
Yep,
that do
yep.
some questions
Yeah, please,
too.
go ahead.
Sorry, we can't hold. I'm just going to bring it in.
No,
and
he answered.
Okay.
sorry, Richard.
No,
Sorry to
that's all
interrupt.
right.
I'm just trying to give someone else a chance.
No, we're
I've got
moving
a
on.
question, Richard, or if
Yep.
someone got a question.
Yeah, no, fire away.
Jonathan, how you going, mate? Thank you so much. You're a legend once again. Thank you, Michelle.
Hi, Jonathan. How are you?
I'm good. So the question is just, I'm just a little bit confused about like I'm so talking to people to bring them on and saying, hey, like we're doing this, but like I'm not really sure what's next. You know what I mean? Like, are we clear around like what things that we're saying, oh, you're going to be coming into, and we're going to be sharing opportunities for like what? It's not that the CRU aren't necessarily going to be so available through the partnership agreement. Can we be a little bit quiet? Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I know the basalt's potentially there, but like, yeah, I'm just a little bit.
Okay.
About that.
All right. There hasn't been,
Anything.
Yeah, no, there hasn't been a defined thing. What have we got? We've got the EIP for public speaking, I think.
Yeah.
You know, like you can buy that, you know, if that cranks your tractor. There will be EIPs for all sorts of things that are coming, and each one of those things will be released. And I think the company is really like in this next month, 3 weeks, we are so focused on GoPro, Ugain, digital doubles, data mining, the exchange, and all this sort of stuff that the company is got sort of that many irons in that many fires at the moment, and to be frank, none of them are really firing. None of them are really, you know, they're not. There's no gangbusters occurring ever. So whether the company just takes a bit of a deep breath and says, okay, let's sort of get the exchange sorted, and then, you know, like it's got its own life. The exchange, the Maria will run that, I'm guessing, and that's seems to have its own life, and Ugain has got its own sort of lease on life, and all of these things, that there's lots of opportunities for people to participate in quite diverse things if they want to, but you've got to get up to speed with them. You know, now I'm just so busy. I mean, I sat the Ugain exam just for the sake of sitting it, because I just, you know, challenge yourself to learn different things and all that sort of stuff. But I won't be doing the Ugain. I just don't have the time. And if the spaces are limited to people who want to go do it, it wouldn't be fair for me to take one when I can't give it, and I can't genuinely dedicate the time to it that it needs to be dedicated to. I mean, I like trading, so I'm going to be keen to get on the exchange and have a look at that. But an exchange that is trading two pairs is not really a volatile, it's not really a dynamic exchange. I mean, I know that they're going to expand and grow, and, you know, but maybe in 10 months' time, it'll be a real, you know, hive of activity and all sorts of things happening. So you've just got to go through and have a look, see if there's something there that sort of fires you up. And if you're bringing people in, you need to show them, you know, what the Ever Rich program is, and you know, what companies that we're covering, the companies that we're promoting. And if there's something there that they like, then sort of steer them that way, steer them into Ugain if that's their thing. Well, that's a bit hard to do because you've got to be qualified. There's quite a lot of process that we've got to go through for Ugain. It's not like you can just put your hand up and say, "Oh, I want to do that." You know, it doesn't quite work. But
Yeah.
I think in the new year, you will find that these things like basalt and gold and the movies and the edu cafes and the supermarket thing that they want to bring out early next year, all of these opportunities will be available for people to buy into and participate in. But I think right now they're just the company is snowed under with, I think GoPro is the big sort of thing at the moment, you know, they're really focused on
I guess
that.
that was kind of, sorry to interrupt. I think that was kind of partially the reason for my question, because it's like it's about GoPro. It's like about building this team of networkers, but what are we necessarily going to be networking? I just wasn't 100% clear on that. But I'm participating in the data mining, and I think that's like a brilliant mission forward, especially what that's going to be offering as we generate these great big contacts, and then offering these, you know, new STOs to come onto our exchange, offering this great big marketing pool. I think it's brilliant, the whole data mining, as well as expanding your own entrepreneurial sort of process. I think that's all brilliant. I haven't had enough time to give Ugain the attention yet. Is there any chance that you could just distill that at all?
Well, yeah. I mean, Ugain is it's like a loyalty program on steroids. It's a program that allows a shopkeeper to have access to data on his customer spending habits. So he can see what time of the day they come in. He can see what they buy. Is it something regular? He can get feedback from his people. He can, like if he sees someone who is regularly buying a certain thing, or a group of people that they're regularly buying certain things, he can run a promotion about those things and promote it to those. He can get in touch with them specifically. It's very, very clever from that point of view of giving a business owner, if he wants to go through, he can analyse, it'll come up how efficient his sales staff are, you know, whether they're good, whether they're bad, are there times of the day when they're better than other times of the day. It'll give him an enormous amount of information about his business. Now, he can then from there, he can expand that. He can see where his customers also shop. And the advantage of that is that if he sees a group of customers that regularly also shop somewhere else, he can go and see that shop owner and they can start doing cross advertising within their shops. You know, they can promote each other's shop, which, you know, people walk in and they go, "Oh, I buy my coffee from that shop," you know, or do, you know, they can work in a cooperative way with each other. But he also earns points when the customers that he's signed are shopping anywhere else. He also gets he gets points added to his account, which then he gets Ugain tokens for, and he can cash them out for whatever he wants, either for his business, or he can put them back into his business for promotional work. They also have a sort of a little bit like the Pokemon that you go searching all over the community, you know, looking for your little hidden Pokemons. They have that within the Ugain system where people can, he can promote a little, 50% discount at my store, and he can promote that, and that'll go out and people will come searching for it. They'll come looking. It actually is a tool that will bring people into his shop because they've got the little notification that the little, well, I mean, I call him the Ugain Pokemon, but whatever they call him, is out ferreting around, and you got to go find him and track him down. And it will always lead you to a retail outlet that is part of the Ugain program. And then once you get there, it's up to the shop owner if he can entice you to buy something, shop, or do something like that. So it's a very, very clever program, but it needs to be explained to people. They need to understand what it's buying in, because it's more than just a rewards program. Yes, if I've got my Ugain card and I go into the shop, I'm going to get certain bonuses and benefits, and I'm going to get notified from various shops when they're doing have discounts in the shops that I shop in. If they're doing, you might go to a restaurant, a takeaway food store. Well, the owner might turn around and at 5 minutes to 6, he might post that we're doing a special dinner tonight. And if you're thinking about sitting down and preparing dinner and you get a notification that says, dinner's cheap tonight here, you might just decide, I'm not going to cook dinner tonight, I'll just go down there. And that's just a prompt that you wouldn't have thought of doing had you not had that prompt from Ugain. So these are things that, like if the weather's bad and you've got to shop and you're one of these, $2 shops, well, you might promote that you got umbrellas for sale if all of a sudden people get caught out. You can do these instant promotion, instant props relative to what's going on the day. And you can do that with your customer base. So, there's a lot of marketing advantages to it. And of course, from the company point of view, it's all run off our blockchain, which means that all of these people have to have UNTB, and great, because that's what pushes the price of UNTB up. All of these shop owners, all their customers, if they want to get on and they want to get involved in expanding, they need to also be on our blockchain. They also need to be having UNTB, and they also need to, sort of keep abreast of it with the use of UNTB. That's kind of a nutshell.
Richard,
Yeah,
I'm
awesome.
just going to jump in there. Tony's got his hand up, so I'm just trying to sort of get this sort of rounded a bit, because I know there's a lot of people with questions.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Thanks, Richard.
Tony Lewis.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Richard, for doing this. I want to shift gears a little bit back to blockchain and exchange.
Yeah.
2 questions. First is blockchain. Will the blockchain be available for us to set up our wallet, convert our block crew to W crew, all that before the exchange? I guess I'm out of the sync of what's coming first. Are they both coming out at the same time?
Yeah.
And then
okay.
my other question was, you mentioned W crew won't be on the exchange till 15 months or something. So will it only be UNTB that's actually traded on the exchange?
Okay. All right. First of all, question number 1, Maria did say that these things can run simultaneously. What they're doing right now is they're just, because you've got to be verified on the exchange, it's a longer process to get on the exchange than what it is to move to your crypto wallet. So when we move to our crypto wallet, when they're ready for us to move, it's going to be there. You'll go into your back office. There'll be the big green button. There'll be create a seed code and hit the green button, and you're across. And that's probably in a bit of a nutshell too. There'll be, you'll have to do a little bit of, itemizing what you want to move, like as in crew and, all that sort of stuff. But the process for the exchange is a lot longer. They've got to go through the KYC process. They've got to go through AML. So what they're doing is they're getting that process out of the way first, because it's a longer process. So those that you only have to verify for the exchange. If you're going to trade on the exchange, if you're not going to use it, you don't have to go through all of this stuff. But you need to understand that if you think that you're not going to use it, and so you don't go through the process, you do your crypto wallet, you're sitting there, you're looking at it, and now suddenly you find that UNTB, the price of UNTB is at 2 cents, and you think, man, I want to get some of them. Then you're going to have to go through the KYC process, the AML you're going to take, and it's going to take you 2 or 3 days before you get there, and then who knows what the price of things are going to be in 3 days' time. So it's one of those things that if you absolutely know that you are not going to be buying and selling anything, then you absolutely do not have to do anything with verification or any of that sort of stuff. The probability is, though, that if crude price jumped to something that you thought was acceptable for you to sell at, or UNTB or crude was down at a price, if you've burned that bridge, if you haven't opened up that process, by the time you get to do it, it could be too late. So you just need to think about that. I mean, I don't have a great belief that I'm going to be buying or selling straight away, but I don't want to limit myself and not have that option. So that's why I'm going to go through the process, getting on the exchange, do my KYC, get it all done. So just in case the option occurs, it's going to be there. Sorry, Michelle, you want to?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that Richard's really made a good point there, because like there are going to be they've said things like there's going to be 1,000 people manually approved a day for verification, and that's sometimes it's you hear things like in the exchange testers that they'll automate it. At this point, I would say, like, do your KYC and get on the exchange, because I think once it sort of is there, it's going to be really hard to get on. So it's just make that effort as soon as you can and get on straight away if you get that opportunity.
In the current roadmap, Richard, the way Maria's made it sound.
Mike, can I just answer Tony's other question first?
Oh no, it was in relation to his question. It was it was sort of contributing to his question.
Okay.
The roadmap indicated that they would wait for a certain number of people to register for the external exchange before they gave us the link to open up our blockchain wallets. Is that correct?
Yeah,
going towards Tony's question.
Yeah, they were talking about from the time that they opened up registrations, that they felt it would be about 10 days before the next event would occur. Now, obviously, with the little mess up that happened, we haven't even started that 10 days. So you still need to be monitoring that 10 days, that once re-registration starts, then count forward 10 days, and you can pretty much bet around about that 10th day, that's when the crypto wallets are going to be opening up and the exchange will be opened up. But okay. What they're going to do, but what they've got to do is they've said that before anybody can move to the crypto exchange, they have to go through all of the support dockets, all the support tickets, and verify that everybody is happy with the status of their crew holdings, that whatever they've staked, they've got back, that there's no outstanding tickets of concern. And because nothing's going to be transferring while ever there are tickets, in support of people saying, I don't agree with the number of crew that I've received, or, you know, my staking, whatever it is. So it's really important that everybody knows what you should have, what you've staked, what you've got back. You know, you've got to, this is what we were talking about just before we were moving into the adult financial world. This is part of the adult financial world now, that you need to know, you have to know that what the crew that you've got in your portfolio is what you should have. You know, you've got to go through. So if you've got any doubts, you need to be sitting down and doing your mathematics on, okay, well, I staked this and I received that. And when the company does their reconciliation, when they cancel all the stakings, they will reconcile all of those stakings. You've got to go through that reconciliation and verify. Or, I mean, I'm saying that's if you want to know. If you're just happy with the figure that the company come up, then you're not going to create a ticket for support to have them to check it. That's our choice. That's your choice to do that. But if you've gone through your reconciliation and you believe that you're somewhere there's a discrepancy, get a support ticket in, get it sorted out, because nobody is moving until we've got that sorted. So even though the timeline is set subject to a zero ticket discrepancy problem with support. Now the other part of your question, Tony,
Yes.
was repeat it, please.
Yeah, it was, you had mentioned that the W crew most likely will not actually be trading on the exchange for 15 months.
Yeah.
So my question is, what will be on there? I guess the UNTB?
Yeah, we'll be selling Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, UNTB.
Okay.
There's a couple of companies already that I'm aware of that have already submitted requests to tokenize and sell their tokens on our exchange. Crew will still be bought and sold. There's still going to be Crew. And until the exchange gets its proper security clearance to sell security tokens, we won't be able to sell a security token on it. We can sell utility tokens because there's no security provisions attached to that. And that's where Andre wants to take it, and that's where he wants to go. So that'll be proceeded very quickly. But at the moment, because everything has to be done through private placements through UGPay, because we're not allowed to sell publicly, that's not going to occur. We're not going to, there you go, I got caught out big time, didn't I? That's not going to occur because it's not necessary. Right now, they can't sell them. They've got to be done with private placements. By the time that does become applicable, we will have the correct licensing arrangements.
All right. So I guess really pile up as much UNTB as I can, maybe.
Mate, I would be locking into that. And seriously, there's going to be a lot of people who don't understand price fluctuations. And if you do understand them, there's going to be a tremendous opportunity to make money in buying and selling Crew. Huge, big, there's going to be, oh, have Crew, me sell. That's what people are going to do. Now, if you're smart enough to be the offset to that, there's going to be a big chance for a lot of people to make a lot of money from this, just by being a little bit savvy about when you buy and when you sell. And then also another little trick, it's nothing to do with necessarily, is that when you want to sell at a price that leaves your buyer with a chance to also make a profit. Like big institutional investors, when they buy an asset, they set a margin that asset's going to return them, and then they sell it, and they don't bicker and whinge and moan about it. They just sell it, and then they go look for the next one. But you sell something, if you sell it where there's no movement that anybody else can see where they're going to make some money from it, well, they're not going to be interested in buying it. So the trick is to sell if you buy Crew on the exchange, pick a percentage that you're happy to make on it, and then put that back, and then sell it at that price. You can always go buy it again and repeat the same process, but don't hang on to them, or don't sell something that is so high that nobody's interested in buying it because there's no margin in it for them to make any money. So just when you're pricing, when you're looking at trading on the exchange and you're looking at pricing and things like that, look at what the current trading price is on the day. Look at what it's going at. So then you price yourself accordingly. If you need to sell some, you don't necessarily have to sell it cheap, but you just have to sell it at a price that someone looking to buy it can see that they can make a quid out of it as well. And that can be the difference of just a few cents difference, but it can be a percentage, and it can be the difference between 15 and 20%, which goes in your pocket. All right. Anybody else? Have we kept you? Nearly everybody's falling asleep, I'm guessing.
Anybody? One
Never
last
fall
question.
asleep.
If there's anyone we've missed out on, Tom, be careful.
No, no.
I said we never fall asleep with Richard.
No. Look,
It's very interesting.
look, we're going to continue this through during this next week. If anybody has got any question that they really want answered, then just put the question in the group. We will go through them. We will find out about the process of dividends versus profit bonuses. There's a few things that we can discover and find, but the real critical thing for this coming week is to just get yourself on, I believe, and this is get yourself on the exchange, get yourself set up, get yourselves organised, and then concentrate on thinking about your seed phrase, and because that's going to be the next thing, that once we get through this exchange thing, the next thing that's going to hit us, and we'll talk about that next week, how to create them, how to do them efficiently. If you've never done one before, a few little tricks of what you can do to make it easier for you. But look, that's basically, unless there's anybody got any specific questions, it's just a bit of a general chat tonight, and just sort of feel everybody out and just sort of answer anything urgent. But
Yeah, Richard.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's not super urgent, I guess, but am I right understanding that we're moving forward basically with our own bank now, rather than partnering with any bank? And if so, with these new cards and these bank accounts, like, how does that play into sort of tax?
Okay, well, what we're doing is we actually have what's known as an arrangement with a custodial bank. Like we're what would we call we're a faux bank. We're a bank, we've got the proper licensing, financial licenses and all that, but we lodge a certain number of our security tokens with a custodial bank in Switzerland, and then they basically give us access to their worldwide banking facilities. So we brand it under the UGPay name, we brand it under our name, we brand it all, in our name, but it's actually, and I don't know what company, I don't know what bank the company have got the arrangement with, but it's actually that bank. We just pay a fee and we get to put our name on it. But you with the card that we're going to get, that, the cards, you can go to your local petrol station and buy your gas on it. You go to a local supermarket, do all that sort of stuff. That's going to have that sort of versatility, but it'll be branded with our name on it. It'll be branded with our stuff, but it'll actually be the property of a custodial bank in Switzerland.
Okay, thanks.
All righty.
Fabulous, everyone. Thank you for a great turn up tonight. It's been fabulous for you all. Like we actually got to 100, Richard, so we made the ton. No, we made the ton. Yeah. So excited.
There is a question in the chat.
Yep. What is it? Where?
Richard for president, I reckon.
That's all right.
I think so too.
It may be a repeated question about when it's officially people can be registered from Crypto Lover.
Okay, the registration, I just, in reading what I've read today, I don't think registrations will begin until Thursday. That's my take on what they've said. So I wouldn't be expecting registrations to start until Thursday.
Okay. And Richard, could you just take us through real fast in 2 minutes, because you mentioned it earlier, on the basis that WCRU will not be, on CoinMarketCap for 15 months. You mentioned about how it will increase in price just through members trading on the exchange. Can you explain how the price will increase from starting at 35 cents to ultimately potentially achieving the $15 mark that Maria and Andre spoke of in the last webinar?
This, like, that you're talking about crew?
WCRU.
Look, okay. The trading, the World Cruise price is linked to the portfolio, the value of the portfolio. Now, we had the question asked before, if it's valued at $15 billion, you know, that doesn't translate into the price of World Cruise. What that $15 billion is the investment value of the portfolio, which is different to its actual value. The investment value assumes that the gold mines are all up and running, that UGPay is up and running, the digital doubles are doing, we're doing diamonds, we're making movies. It's what, when we're in full swing and all of these things are happening and they're all going, that's what the thing will ultimately be worth. So that's just an aside to directly answer your question. The direct answer to your question is found in what Andre Harato has changed the structure of our portfolio. We used to have what was called a moderate to safe portfolio, where we have only, with the maximum exposure to liquid assets was at 20%. In fact, it's slightly less than that. That used to be his plan. What he's done is, because he believes that the equity investments that we've got that will ultimately produce this $15 billion, we've got enough of them. Now he's changing the whole focus of the exchange to have an exposure of around 80% to liquid assets. Now that puts a lot of pressure on, like we say, young Haroon. He's going to have a huge responsibility, but that will produce staggering sums of cash money, which will be converted straight into dividends, straight smaller amount profit bonus. And that's the thing that's going to crank people's tractor when they start looking at World Crew. That's going to be the thing that will really make World Crew come alive and get exciting. And Crew will piggyback off that to some degree and go up in price. But where that $15 comes, where those figures come from, principally is going to be the returns on liquid asset investments that the company are going to be pushing in when we're talking about if someone comes in and buys $10 million worth of World Crew from UGPay, 50% of that goes into our portfolio fund. You know, it's a staggering amount of money that is going to be dropped into that portfolio fund. And if 80% of that 50% is liquid assets, that is instantly, you know, within months of being in the portfolio, are producing profits, are producing dividends, are producing returns, that's going to push the price of dividends massively high. And it's going to produce the demand for World Crew massively high as well.
Okay, that's the answer I was looking for. I was fully aware of all the full market capitalization of all the multiple companies that are potentially going to go to IPO that gave us that 15 billion, because we went from 500 million to 15 billion sort of in the span of a month, but that was just based on valuation process. So I was well aware of that. I just wasn't understanding how, even if it was still 500 million and we've got 800 tons of gold that's unmined and so on and so forth, and that was still based on a valuation because the assets are only worth about 70 million. So how did the price go up? And you've just answered that by the demand of the public, and also by the dividends that will be paid to those shareholders.
Yeah, I mean that dividend is a very, very big element of what people are going to be looking at, because it's pretty rare to be getting those sort of dividends on the type of token that people are going to be buying. Most people generate an income from buying of a token when they sell it, not when they're sitting on it.
Richard, my understanding though, the difference between the profit bonus and the dividend is that while we get profit bonus monthly, I believe that the dividend, is only going to be paid 3 monthly. I thought I read that in one of the papers.
Yeah, that was part of it, that the dividend is an after results of their quarterly bookkeeping. And they also, it's a dividend isn't, you don't have, it's already been taxed when you get it. So it's, there's a number of things that are different to it, to a profit bonus. But what I would like to do is actually get that fully clarified, so we fully know. So when we're making our minds up, do we want to hang on to crew for whatever reason we might want to? If we're going to state crew for crew, there's only going to be 2 ways that you're going to get more crew. If you have determined that you need more crew, you need to think about either buying an installment plan now and getting that locked in, at least get one payment made before we transfer, and then using some of your unlocked crew that you're holding to sell on the exchange to cover your costs of repayments down the track, or you need to be looking at staking crew for crew. If you feel, or your only other option is then buying it on the exchange. Well, we know that, you know, we're all talking about all of that going up. So if you want to buy in and get crew cheaply, you need to get an installment package now before they close. And you need to stake crew for crew. Instantly your crypto wallet is available to you. You need to get that crew for crew staking if you feel that you need more crew. But I you
could also do UNTB for crew, right? Like you could.
Yeah, you can trade them. You can trade them, but the moment you're negotiating with someone to buy theirs, they're not going to be selling it to you for nothing. At the moment, your cheapest way of getting it is to buy it in the installment plan. The second, and also by staking it and getting it as a reward. They're the 2 cheapest ways. The next alternative is to, as far as cost goes, is exactly what you said, trade UNTB for crew. Okay, you've got UNTB as a reward, but you're going to be trading it at a higher price because the person selling you their UNTB, selling you their crew, isn't going to be doing it for nothing. They're going to be wanting to make a profit out of it. So, you know, the price is going to be higher when you trade UNTB for crew or fiat currency for crew. Now, right at that,
sell your UNTB for USDU and then just buy the crew, you know, from the person.
Yeah, but still, someone wanting to sell it, unless they're really desperate, is going to want to sell it at a higher price than what you'll buy it for in an installment price.
Absolutely, you're right.
Richard, the point I was making about the dividends is 2 things. One is we need to take it into consideration if we're counting on that money in terms of allocating our spending. The second is that outsiders won't actually see that dividend for at least 3 months and then for another 3 months. So they won't be seeing that to realise the value of the dividends.
No, they will, but UGPay, when they promote that to in the corporate world, the institutional investors already know that, and UGPay will present to them a realistic projected investment return. They will know that before someone buys it, they will have a very good idea of what the company believe investment interest payments will be and dividends will be. so that when the company presents to a corporate investor, they will have all of that information laid out for them.
But the smaller people who might be buying a crew because they can't get it as accredited investors, they won't see that.
No, they won't. No, so they're going to, the company will release some documentation, I am sure, but they won't release to us what they would release to an institutional investor. So that's one of those things that I sincerely believe the company will outline the company will give us a very clear outline of what they believe is possible, but we won't get the detail that an institutional investor will get. No, you're right. But I'll chase that up this week. I'll make really solid efforts to get some information that we can present to everybody next week to give some really good, clear guidelines on to how the company's going to do those two things.
The other question that somebody asked in the group was about where you need the money to pay to transfer the crew to W Crew. Where does that money come from? In which wallet does it need to be?
We're gonna have so many wallets, aren't we? Look, I believe that's got to be in your UG Pay. That's part of the UG Pay process.
And we can't transfer money across to there.
Not at the moment. No. That's all. And the reason why the company aren't allowing that is because they're not set up for it. Because they know that as soon as they set up, or if they're in the process of halfway getting through it, people just dive in and it just slows the whole process. Yeah. So what they're doing right now is they're doing the paid, right now as we're talking, they're actually doing the UG Pay system now. They're doing the interchanging of it in their back offices. They're doing it. The reason why we can't register is because they're doing the UG Pay payment system now.
I've just got a quick one, guys.
Just on that, if we want to transfer as quickly as possible to start the staking and get the staking as soon as possible, then we need to have that money somewhere.
Yeah, so mine's right now is sitting in my back office. That's where it's sitting, and then once I get my little green button and I make my seed code, it is going to be transferred to my crypto wallet.
Me too. I'm there. I'm waiting every day.
So mine's already sitting there. Mine's been sitting there because I thought we were going to do it weeks ago. So yeah, mine's been sitting there for a while.
Hi guys, can I just ask a quick one?
Yeah, mate.
Fabulous content, Michelle, and especially Richard. Priceless, really. I don't pretend to be a boffin at all in crypto, but I've been around crypto for many, many years. And I think it's fair to say that the whole ecosystem and the economics of the tokens that we have got is fairly complicated in comparison to any other coins that I know in the top 10, 20 on coin market cap.
Yeah.
100% agree.
Number of webinars that I've been on in the last couple of weeks trying to explain it, and I've got a bit of a grasp on it now, but still not the way I need to. How is the average Joe off the street going to get this information to do their due diligence when they go to look at purchasing any of our tokens?
Okay.
Surely they don't have to jump on one of our 4 or 6 hour webinars.
No. Yep. What they'll do, the average crypto punter uses coin market cap as their Bible. They absolutely lock onto it, and they can tell you if they're really into it, they'll be able to tell you who's moving up, who's moving down, and all the, like they know it. They really, really do know it. So when a coin comes into coin market cap and it starts to go right up quickly, it will draw a lot of attention. Now, the company also has got lined up some very sophisticated crypto bloggers who will start talking about our crow. Like it's a very, very coordinated thing that they're doing. There's no point in doing it now because we got 3 months, people have forgotten about it. But as the time comes and we get closer and closer to it, that is all going to step up, and the appropriate information will be released to people who know where to look. You know, like they're not going to, if you're a very casual crypto person and you haven't even heard of CoinMarketCap, well, we're probably not even trying to attract you. You know, we're trying to attract someone who understands the crypto world, first of all. So we are trying to attract people who do understand CoinMarketCap. And if anybody's wanting to become more familiar with it, you need to go. I mean, we can sit down and we could do part of a webinar on CoinMarketCap, Michelle. We could go through the mechanics of it, what it is, how it works. So then when you're talking to people and you promote this, you know, I am crew, if you can support why you are crew by terms and words that are used in the CoinMarketCap and in the crypto world, people who listen to you think, oh, okay, that's a person who actually knows what he's talking about. You know, that's actually got to listen to that person. When you post something that is very, very unique to CoinMarketCap or something like that, and you can make a reference to a movement on how it works, you will appear to be more savvy. And so if you are promoting crew, if you are promoting UN to be on a social site, you will attract more of those sort of people. But the specific answer to your question, Scott, is that information will certainly be released, but right now it's not really probably the time to do it.
Sure. Spot on. That's comforting. Thanks, mate.
One additional question, Richard. You may or may not know the answer. Today they announced the birthday presents.
All right.
Yeah. So people who are paying for instalments in November get 30%, and people who buy the GoPro Mastery get 100% more crew than what they would have in the initial package. But my question is specifically, if you want to increase your crew and you've got an installment package, do you get that additional 30% if you prepay your installments? That's my question about increasing crew.
Okay. Sorry?
Yeah, that's what they said. Anything paid, including installments in the month of November, will get 30%, whether it's outright or
It didn't specifically mention installments in the back office. That's why I'm sort of asking the question: is it worthwhile? Because I've still got like 7 installments on one of my installments, and I'm just thinking, is it worthwhile raking up the money now?
Generally, you need to make, like, if you have 7 installments left to do, generally you need to make all 7 installments in November.
I understand that, but I'm wondering, am I going to get the extra 30% on all of them?
Yes, you will, and then you will. Then yes, then you will.
That's just a clue to other people who are listening too, because that was only announced today about the presents from Andre.
Yeah. Okay. But
Sorry, just why do you think that we have to pay off all the installments to have access to that?
Because the payment is only for the month of November.
Yeah. Yep. And and every time that you buy, you get an email in your back office saying, congratulations on your purchase. You purchased this many CRU. So why wouldn't that have its 30% added to it, whether or not you paid out the entire installment plan or not?
Because if I pay 7 times 1,000 now, then I'd get 30% more. Whereas if I just pay the 1 month that's due, I won't get the other 30% on all the other 7 when I pay them for the next 6 months.
Yeah, I get that. But why are you saying that you'd have to pay out the entire thing? If you could only afford to pay 5 payments out.
No. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Wrong use of words. For whatever number of installments you pay in November,
yes,
you will attract that bonus.
Yeah, great.
So sorry, that was incorrect words that I used. All right, people.
Thank you so much.
Okay. We'll
We
put on
could-
another webinar next week, and depending on what happens with the registration, if it's, you know, crazy and busy, we might just let everyone do their thing and register. But Richard and I will just work out a day and put the link up on our Telegram group, and, you know, we'll do something again next week, maybe towards the end of the week even, depending on what company webinars are on. Because if Maria's anything about Maria, like, I think we all need to stop and
Double-fist, thank you.
listen to that.
Maria's on again this weekend, by the way.
Thursday
Oh,
she's
sorry,
on.
Thursday.
All right,
Yeah.
people, thank you
It
so
was
much.
a great
everybody.
meeting.
Thank you.
Love you,
Thank
Ka,
you.
Bruce.
Thank you, everybody.
We are
Thank you,
waiting
Night,
Richard.
everybody.
More.
Morning.
Oh, thank you.
So good to see you all. I love
Catch
this
you.
whole
Very
video.
happy.
Like,
Very much.
awesome.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.